everybody, once again, and welcome back to the podcast. It's 3 a.m., and this is important. I'm Matt, and with me, as always, is Jessy.
Hello.
And today, what are we talking about today?
We're talking about conspiracy theories.
Conspiracy theories. This is always a good one.
I am excited. And this episode is being recorded in front of a live studio audience.
A whole studio audience consisting of one good friend of ours.
Still counts.
Hi, Sabile.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us.
Fuck yeah.
All right.
She's feeling hella awkward right now.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so how do you want to kick this thing off? What do you want to talk about first?
Well, I want to start off with a goofy one that just made me giggle like a bunch.
So we're just going to go through some conspiracy theories and talk about them?
Yeah, basically I have this is going to be a less structured episode. I've got just a bunch of really silly ones that I figured we could just talk about.
Okay.
As I announce them. And then one kind of longer one that we'll probably sort of start things off with.
Sure.
But I have the first one. It's ready. Are you ready?
I think I'm ready. I feel ready.
Prepare yourself.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Your
let's
mind
go.
is going to expand.
I can't wait to be more enlightened, to know more, to know the truth, to to peer behind the veil of the lies we've been told as a society, the sheeple that we are.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do this. Come on, let's start.
All right, I'm starting heavy. It's a big swing.
Okay.
The government created the coronavirus to get us to stay at home so they could change the batteries out of all the birds.
Change all the batteries out of the birds.
Made me giggle so hard when I read it.
Because that goes along with the theories that birds aren't real, right?
Sure.
And that birds are actually drones that surveil us.
Oh my God, maybe. Probably.
I think that's
actually
what they're referencing, right? To change all the batteries in the birds.
Oh my God, are we being spied on by birds?
Yeah, the birds have cameras and, they're recording us and they have facial recognition built in.
Yeah.
And birds aren't real.
Birds aren't real. Oh
Birds
my
are not
God,
real.
the Incredibles movie.
Oh, yeah.
They reference it in the Incredibles movie. There's a fake real bird
Yeah.
in that movie.
So that's it.
Wow.
That was a little bit of truth poking its way into modern media.
Huh.
So that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Anywho, okay. Now I kind of want to talk about something that's not necessarily a conspiracy theory, but it's a fantastic example of the harm that they can do
Okay.
when taken seriously.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
And the story I would like to cover is the Mcmartin Preschool investigation. Have you ever heard of it?
No. That doesn't even
Ooh.
ring a bell. I don't
It's a
even know what that
juicy one.
reference is. Yeah.
It was before our time,
Okay.
but still really, really crazy.
Sorry, what was it? The Mcmartin
Preschool
preschool investigation. Okay.
or preschool trial.
Yeah. Okay.
Swept the nation in the 80s.
Cool.
And let's get to learning.
All right. Yeah. Teach me a thing or two.
Yeah. So the Mcmartin preschool trial was a daycare sexual abuse case that ran through the 1980s.
Okay.
Members of the Mcmartin family who operated a preschool in Manhattan Beach, California, were charged with hundreds of counts of sexual assault,
Okay.
sexual abuse.
Where was this?
This was in Manhattan Beach, California.
Okay. Sorry. I guess I just blanked out when you said that.
That's okay. Yeah, in California. Accusations were made in 1983. Arrests and pretrial investigations took place from 84 to 87, and the actual trials ran from 87 to 90.
Okay.
The case lasted 7 years, resulted in no convictions. All charges were dropped in 1990, and the case ended up being America's longest and most expensive trial in history.
And nothing came of it?
And nothing came of it. And you'll see why
Okay.
as we move forward.
All right.
So it was essentially part of a countrywide daycare sex abuse hysteria, and
Okay.
also tied in to the Satanic Panic.
The Satanic Panic.
Yeah, which I feel like you should be aware of.
That is something that I've heard of before.
Given the nature of our podcast. Yeah. Satanic Panic was just everybody's Satanists and doing all sorts of weird rituals, and they would blame
everything's
all sorts
influenced
of
by the
things
devil.
on it.
And,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so much of it was just absolutely, completely unfounded.
And blown out of proportion and way too traumatic.
Exactly. So this whole thing got kicked off by a woman named Judy Johnson, who reported that her son had been sodomized by one of the teachers, Ray Bucky, and her ex-husband. She claimed that she found out about the abuse when her son reported having painful bowel movement. She also claimed that her son confirmed the suspected abuse when questioned about it.
Right.
However, this is unconfirmed.
Okay.
as are most of the accusations and
Okay.
confirmations of.
Interesting.
Yeah. Ray Bucky was questioned but never arrested due to a lack of evidence. However, this initial accusation prompted the police to send a letter to 200 parents of students at Mcmartin School stating that their children may have been abused and asked that the parents question their children.
Okay.
And I'm going to read you the letter because it's crazy and ridiculous. And
all right, let's do it.
Yeah. Dear parent, this department is conducting a criminal investigation involving child molestation. Ray Bucky, an employee of Virginia Mcmartin's preschool, was arrested September 7th, 1983 by this department. The following procedure is obviously an unpleasant one, but to protect the rights of your children, as well as the rights of the accused, this inquiry is necessary for a complete investigation. Records indicate that your child has been or is currently a student at the preschool. We are asking your assistance in this continuing investigation. Please question your child to see if he or she has been a witness to any crime or if he or she has been a victim. Our investigation indicates that possible criminal acts include oral sex, fondling of genitals, buttock or chest area, and sodomy, possibly committed under the pretense of taking a child's temperature. Also, photos may have been taken of children without their clothing. Any information from your child regarding having ever observed Ray Bucky to leave a classroom alone with a child during any nap period, or if they have ever observed Ray Bucky tie up a child is important. Please complete the enclosed information form and return it to this department in the enclosed stamped returned envelope as soon as possible. We will contact you if circumstances dictate same.
Okay.
We ask that you please keep this investigation strictly confidential, yada, yada, yada. And then the final paragraph is in all caps. There is no evidence to indicate that the management of Virginia Mcmartin's preschool had any knowledge of the situation, and no detrimental information concerning the operation of the school has been discovered during this investigation. Also, no other employee in the school is under investigation for any criminal act.
Okay.
End of letter. Which is insane to me that they sent this thing out.
Yeah, it seems like they jumped the gun a little bit.
By name, no evidence whatsoever.
And I thought he wasn't actually arrested. Wasn't he just brought in for questioning?
Yeah, he wasn't even arrested because they didn't have the evidence, but they still moved forward with sending this fucking horrible letter.
Oh my God.
To like 200 freaking families.
That's really fucked up. Like that's pretty incendiary.
That's life ruining.
Like my God.
Know? And this all, of course, like it made the news for a very long time. Like it swept the nation. Of course,
it's big news.
Yeah. So I just thought that was really fucked up and figured it was kind of important.
Yeah, that was a hair trigger response on their part.
For context, yeah. So several hundred children were then interviewed by Children's Institute International, an abuse therapy clinic.
Okay.
These interviews were all highly suggestive, and they asked the children to pretend or speculate the supposed acts of sexual abuse.
Oh, so they didn't actually ask them if anything happened without like actually giving them prompts.
No. They were incredibly suggestive, leading with their statements, encouraged to literally make stuff up, and then they took that as record.
Okay.
For hundreds and hundreds of children.
My goodness.
So a year later, by 1984, the Institute claimed that 360 children had been abused.
Oh my God. By one man? I don't think that's even humanly possible.
This isn't, at this point, with 360 kids, it's not just accusing Ray.
Okay.
But like multiple staffers.
Right. Okay.
It turned into something much larger, but still. So like all of a sudden, from this one woman's random testimony or whatever, 360 kids now.
Yeah.
Is what they're thinking is going on here.
360. Do you know how big the class size was?
I don't know how many kids were at the school. It wasn't just one class. Like
it was the entire preschool.
Yeah, it's a preschool, but also it sounds like there's like multiple teachers and staff and stuff like that operate. It seems like it was a fairly large preschool.
But still, 360 is a big chunk of people.
Yeah.
Big chunk of children.
Yes. So keep in mind, highly suggestive interviews.
Yeah.
Of those 360 children, only 41 of them ended up actually testifying to a grand jury during the pretrial.
Okay.
And only
41's still a good amount.
41's still a lot of kids. You betcha. And only a dozen students testified in the actual trial itself. So that number got whittled down substantially. There were all sorts of bizarre allegations as well on like the part of these kids. And this is kind of where the Satanic Panic stuff kind of comes into play a little bit. But Of these bizarre reports, many children reported satanic rituals being performed on them and on the grounds of the preschool.
Interesting.
Some claim they saw witches flying out and about on the school grounds. Others claim they traveled in a hot air balloon, were taken through tunnels, and that students were flushed down the toilet and then brought into like secret underground rooms.
Kids are weird, man.
Kids are weird. But like a lot of this satanic stuff is directly like related to the Satanic Panic.
Like extremely derivative of all the things they would have been exposed to.
Exactly. On the news and just by listening to their parents talk about them. Crazy Satanist.
Oh, yeah.
And all that fun stuff. So Judy Johnson, the lady that started this whole thing, was later diagnosed with acute paranoid schizophrenia, and she died in 1986 before the preliminary trial concluded. Yeah, which is crazy. Her diagnosis of schizophrenia was hidden from the defense for 3 years.
Oh, good.
And even when it was finally revealed, it was like so much of it was like doxed or hidden. And like it wasn't like a full
running
representation.
This shit? Like who's doing this? All of this? Like
a ton of lawyers.
Yeah, it's just
obviously.
Like the people that are running this investigation and the people that are like running the trial. They just seem like they really have an agenda.
Yeah,
I don't know.
So yeah, even though it's not kind of a conspiracy theory, and we touched on it very briefly, there's a ton of great books and like documentaries out there about the trial. I just thought it was too good of an example of like the actual real harm that conspiracy theories can cause.
That's like, I guess that is a conspiracy theory, right? Yeah, so.
Yeah. But it ties into the Satanic Panic conspiracy theory and the daycare, like sex
abuse. But the conspiracy is that there was
craze.
a bunch of sexual abuse being hidden, right?
True, yeah.
And no one was doing anything to help that conspiracy, like, dissipate in any way. It was, in fact, being inflated.
Yeah.
Which is insane because, you're right. Any conspiracy theory, if enough people take it seriously, then it can become a dangerous tool for people to use because there's so many people behind it, right?
Mm-hmm. As we've seen with, COVID-19.
Yeah. There's a lot of power behind it, right?
Yeah.
Government's lying to us,
People
want to be on the right side of it. They want to be in the know. So then, it can be very dangerous. And it can ruin people's lives.
Yeah. I just wanted to start with that because we're going to be pretty jokey with everything else moving forward.
Yeah, fair enough. Start it off dark and try to dig your way out of that hole. The way we do best.
Yeah, next I want to talk about probably the craziest theorist that I think I don't know, I'm going to speak for you. I think that both of us have ever come across.
Okay.
Can you guess what it is? Do you know what it is?
It's not the time cube, is it?
It's the time cube.
Oh, I love the time
cube. For those of you who haven't heard of this wacky theory, the time cube was a personal webpage founded in 1997 by the self-proclaimed wisest man on earth, Otis Eugene Ray.
Who is the wisest man on earth?
Oh,
maybe
boy.
Was. I don't think much is known about him.
Well, he died in 2015.
Okay.
At the age of like 80-something. So
right.
He
Damn, what are we going to do without the wisest man on earth here to guide us?
I don't know.
Man.
Anywho, Ray believed that all modern scientists were participating in a worldwide conspiracy by ignoring and suppressing Ray's theory that each day actually consists of 4 days simultaneously.
Yes.
And Matt, if you don't mind, I'd really love it if you just read a bit of his, I'm going to call it a manuscript because that's basically all it is.
Well, here's the sad thing about his manuscript. His domain expired, I think this year in 2021. So someone took a small snapshot of some of the stuff he wrote. And I don't think this is everything because I remember scrolling for probably an hour and a half, and it just kept on going on. Things are broken up into paragraphs. It looks like an HTML web page that's just walls and walls of text. And there's so much rambling that it's hard to even get your bearings, even if you start at the beginning. There's just no sense to any of this.
It's just too crazy. And he also makes up his own words.
Yes.
Without providing definitions that you just have to try to get through context.
Yeah, well, you're supposed to know. If you're a follower of his theories, then you should know.
Yeah.
So I'll read how it opens up. And please, I'm going to do my best here, but it is not proper English. It's so hard to follow. So come with me on this journey. All right, here we go. This is how it opens up. Cold open. In 1884, Meridian Time personnel met in Washington to change Earth time. First word said was that only one day could be used on Earth. to not change the 1 day marshmallow. So they applied the 1 day and ignored the other 3 days. The marshmallow time was wrong then, and it proved wrong today. This major lie has so much boring feed from its wrong. No man on earth has no belly button. It proves every believer on earth is a liar. Children will be blessed for kissing of educated adults who ignore 4 simultaneous days, same earth rotation, practicing boring oneness upon earth of quadrants. Boring adult crime versus youth. Supports lie of integration. One education are most dumb. Not one human except dead one. Man is paired, 2 half, 4 self. One of God is only 1/4 of God. Marshmallow, a lie, and word is lies. Navel connects 4 corners, 4s. God is born of a mother. She left belly button B. Signature, every priest has must sign, but lies to honor unicorns. Belly B proves 4 corners. Your dirty lying teachers use only the midnight to midnight 1 day, ignoring 3 other days. Time to not foul, already wrong, marshmallow time. That's where I'll stop.
Okay, what on earth?
Oh boy.
And like seriously, he wrote at least 100,000 words.
At least.
And
it goes on forever. There's a lot of repeating themes.
So let me break it down for you listeners that didn't get it. And this is like all I could kind of capture when I was doing my own research on it. But basically, he breaks down the 4 different days as follows. So there is sunup to sunup, sundown to sundown. Then you have midday to midday and midnight to midnight. All of those are simultaneously happening around the earth.
Yes.
And then he breaks it down. He says like each one of those forms like a corner, and you can imagine like a giant square of time that surrounds the planet.
Yes.
But with each of those days or each of those corners representing like the 4 sunup, sundown, whatevers, as those move separately, they create 16 different sides, I guess. I don't know.
I guess so. It's really hard to like decipher what he was going for, because it's almost like he's describing something that doesn't exist in details that don't matter.
Yeah.
So it's
using literally made up words.
Using made up words a lot of the time. So it's like, it's almost impossible to know what he was going for.
It's a trip though.
It is a trip. Like I would suggest timecube.2enp.com.
Yeah.
It's like just a snapshot of what was, but you'll get the idea, because there's a lot here. You can pick out any point to start reading and you'll get the gist of what he was going on about.
Mm-hmm.
He does add some random stuff every once in a while that doesn't fit in with the themes he's going with, but like,
yeah,
my God, like I just scrolled down for a little bit. Sun Earth binary relative to the human male female binary. No ancient insignificant dead one taco.
It sounds like you're reading from like a random word generator or something like.
This is like an autocomplete.
I was just gonna say, yeah, when you tap your autocomplete to make a sentence. Jesus. Anyway, long story short, there's 96 hours in a day and 4 days happening simultaneously. That is the time cube. If you don't get it, you're an idiot.
Yeah. You are, I think, uneducated genius or something like that. Yeah. That's the way he describes dumb people, which I don't understand, or educated stupid. No, yes.
Educated stupid
is what he would describe the normal man as.
Yeah.
And he would call himself like uneducated genius or something like that. So yeah, there's a lot going on in here. It has a lot to do with the time cube, a lot of oneness.
Yeah.
Something or other about belly buttons. Mentions tacos and unicorns.
Yeah. And Ray was like somewhat popular back in the day. Like he had some followers. He had a bit of a fan base.
Yeah.
But like people in the greater outside world of wherever he lived were aware of him. He was actually invited to speak at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology in 2002 as part of a student-organized extracurricular event.
Wow.
Where they basically paid him to show up so they could make fun of him, which is quite sad. But he also made a speech at the Georgia Institute of Technology in 2005, where he attacked modern science and all those who taught it.
Okay.
And I'm very happy to report that you can actually watch this speech
right
on YouTube.
We watched it, didn't we?
Not even close.
We watched
to
a
all
tiny
of it.
bit of it.
You can only stomach so much of the time cube, unfortunately.
My God.
Ray was so sure of his theory that he offered a $10,000 reward to anyone that could prove his theory wrong.
But how do you prove something wrong that doesn't, there's no way?
Well, I think Mike Hartwell from the main campus paper probably said it best. He said, any claim to the prize would require convincing Ray that his theory was invalid. The proof would need to be framed in terms of his own model, thus deviating from any form of modern science.
Right.
He also said that even if you could pull that off, Ray's probably broke.
Yeah. Oh, good fucking point.
Yep.
And it's kind of sad because it just kind of seems like the mad ramblings of someone who doesn't really know what's going on. But he was very, very convinced of this theory.
Mm-hmm. I didn't do any research on it for this episode, but I've often wondered, at what point do you draw the line of this is a mental illness?
Yeah. It's hard to define that if the person who is saying these things doesn't recognize it in themselves. And you can't forcibly tell someone they have a mental illness or get them treated for it, right? So,
well, maybe not with something like this, I suppose, but
he's not a danger, right? He's not dangerous. He's just kind of insane, and he's throwing misinformation, or not even misinformation. It's just new, wild, completely invalid information, I guess.
Mm-hmm. But I don't think you can really argue that it did harm to his life,
Oh, yeah.
You saw how long I didn't even know what you'd call it, paper was, manifesto was.
Yeah, he spent a lot of time and effort and energy going on about this.
Anyway, I figured we'd chat about, a couple of simpler conspiracy theories.
That is sad. Probably one of the craziest I've ever come across.
That is the craziest, bar none, for me. I don't know.
That's a lot to take in, and it makes no sense. I don't know where it comes from. A lot of conspiracies I understand, A lot of them have to do with disenfranchisement or feeling oppressed or feeling that you've been lied to your entire life. I get those ones, You want power and control of your life, and you want control over the world that you're surrounded by because you've been made to feel powerless and you want to rise up against that. That's what most conspiracy theories have been that I've encountered, right? But then there's some that just don't really have any bearings in reality, I guess. Mm-hmm. Such as the time cube, which is outside of...
Otis had an original idea. He did. He was going to see it through.
It was unique.
Yeah.
It was very unique.
Yeah.
It was weird, and it was his life's work somehow. But yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting, though. We're talking about it, right? It made an impact somehow.
Yeah.
And it's not a dangerous theory because it doesn't really affect anything.
Not at this point, no. Nor will it ever, I guess.
And he was free to do whatever he wanted with his life,
Mm-hmm.
And this is what he did.
All right, so now let's move on to kind of the shorter, goofier, funner conspiracy theory.
Please, yes.
The Coke conspiracy.
The Coke conspiracy.
The Coca-Cola
conspiracy.
Okay.
Is that it's changed over the years or?
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
Yeah, it's about their change.
Okay.
In recipe. So in the 80s, Coke needed to replace sugar with corn syrup.
Yeah.
Mostly because it was cheaper, but apparently also it made the beverage easier to produce.
Sure.
But this came with one major problem. There's a noticeable difference in taste when you switch from sugar to corn syrup. Yeah, you can tell when you go to Mexico.
I guess you're right.
Right?
Yeah, because they use sugar, right?
Yeah, and it's way better.
Mexican Coke, yeah.
Yeah, Mexican Coke is a thing. Mexican Fanta, all that fun stuff.
Made with real cane sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there is a noticeable difference in taste. I can confirm that. So during the same time, though, Pepsi was rising in popularity really, really quickly, and Coca-Cola was at risk of losing its market dominance. Coke's solution, apparently, was to introduce new Coke, and they intentionally made it taste gross so that fans would be thankful when Coke reverted back to the quote-unquote original recipe.
Okay.
Now with corn syrup.
Oh. The original recipe now with corn syrup?
Well, they didn't advertise as with corn syrup, but the idea is that in order to get
the new Coke taste really bad, so they would go back to the one that people weren't digging so much.
Yeah.
But pretend like they were going back to the original.
Yeah. And the idea being that having tasted new Coke for however long they had new Coke out, enough people forgot what the taste of
the original Coke was?
The actual original Coca-Cola. Yeah.
Huh. Now, is that a conspiracy theory? Is that something that actually happened? I mean, it kind of happened, right? Because people didn't dig the new Coke, right?
Yeah, but we'll never know if
if that was actually intentional.
Yeah, if the Coca-Cola
or if they were
overlords
just
did that.
floundering around, like trying to figure out what the hell to do.
Yeah. I just thought that one was pretty cool. I love the ones that like could be plausible.
Yeah. It like sounds like it could be like a plausible marketing strategy. They could totally retcon that shit and be like, yeah, we meant to do that.
Yeah.
If they were ever like confronted about it.
Yeah.
In like a secret insider sort of thing.
I didn't know this, actually. I don't know. Have you ever heard of New Coke?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
I learned about it in Stranger Things. Season 3, one of the characters is rants and raves about how great New Coke is, and everybody else is like, fuck that. It's so gross.
I'd probably be one of the people that's like, this is super great because I like new things.
Yeah.
And I would have been enthusiastic about it. So like, they can't do wrong.
That's the Coca-Cola conspiracy.
Interesting. Okay.
Here's a quick one. Zoom created the coronavirus in order to increase the popularity of its product.
Sure, but also why?
And how?
How? It's Zoom. They had no money to start with. So how are they going to, launch a total global conspiracy?
An ambitious CEO, man.
I guess so.
An ambitious CEO.
Yeah. Where's Zoom based out of? Do you know?
America?
I don't think it's an American. I don't think it's an American holding.
I don't know. I don't know.
Sabeel, where's
yeah, or Googling.
The origin of Zoom is.
You can just tell us.
San Jose.
San Jose, which is in America.
So that is America. All right.
Thanks,
it's an American company.
Here's another quick one. The moon shouldn't. Okay, so this conspiracy theory states that the moon shouldn't be visible at night.
Okay.
And that the government created it. The United States government created it to spy on us. It's actually a giant lens.
Yeah, it's a giant camera. Or is it a giant dome or a camera?
Well, like both. Like it's an artificial structure that the government has placed. Yeah, because I've heard the theory
that it's like a giant CIA structure or something that people can go to and then spy on people from or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is a wild theory.
Mm-hmm. I read about quite a few wacky moon theories. Like there's one that Hillary Clinton sends kids there and there's like a sex trafficking camp on the moon.
Well, they just confirmed that on NPR, so that's real.
Sure, man. I believe it. Yeah, all sorts of wacky.
It just seems like, I don't know, they're like wacky cartoonish ideas. Like some of these conspiracy theories are just like...
Yeah, but people believe them.
They almost sound like Family Guy bits,
Yeah, just so outlandish.
Very esoteric.
Oh, here's one. So I'm just going through a list on my notes here, but I like this one. Okay. This theory states that humans actually originated on Mars.
Okay. So I actually like this one.
Oh, do you know where I'm going with this?
As like a fantasy kind of thing.
Okay.
I actually kind of dig it.
Okay. So humans actually originated on Mars. We've seen proof that water once existed on the planet.
Yes.
That's when we lived there, when water existed on the surface level of the planet. These theorists claim that humans destroyed Mars and fled to Earth. Their ship then crash landed, and it's this crash landing that killed all life on Earth. AKA the dinosaurs, AKA humans were the meteor that killed all the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, after that meteor struck, it led to the rise in mammals. That's when mammals took over the planet.
Sure.
Coincidence? I think not. I know, I just love that one.
God damn, no, but I like it though.
Yeah.
Because have you seen topographical maps of what Mars would look like if it had sort of the same features as Earth?
No, I haven't. Like if it had like cool. Oceans and stuff?
Yeah, it had oceans and land masses and like it actually looked very much like plausibly what it could have maybe looked like if it had been inhabitable at some point.
No, I haven't. What does it look like?
Well, it looks like Earth.
I mean, that makes sense.
It's blue and green and has an atmosphere and it looks cool. But I just like it as like a fantasy that like the progenitors of our species is also the species that wiped out a planet and we're currently wiping out another planet.
Yeah, repeating this
cycle.
So
it like fits kind of, but it's just like, I know it's not true, but it's a fun thing to think about.
Yeah.
So
food for thought.
Yeah. Some conspiracy theories would make good sci-fi novels, I think.
I agree. We have the Hollow Earth theory.
The Hollow Earth.
Which I'm a fan of. Oh, I want it to be true so bad.
Well, it's true in the Godzilla versus Kong.
It is. And they did it so well. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I got a bit more information on this one. So it was first theorized in the 17th century by Edmund Halley, kind of the first modern hey, this thing is real. The earth is hollow. Although it's appeared in certain folklore and mythology. So the ancient Greeks claimed that there were massive caves that led down to the underworld. The Celtics had a legend of a massive cave called Creation, or Ireland's Gate to Hell, a mythical and ancient cave formed by strange creatures that could sometimes be seen from the surface.
Interesting.
And on top of that, Brazilians, Native Americans, Germans, the natives of the Trobriand Islands, Hindus, and medieval knights all had different legends of subterranean landscapes.
Okay.
And I think it was the Trobriand Islands, the natives of those islands. I think they said that heaven was like actually like not in the sky, but actually inside the earth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there's like all sorts of different cultures that have thought about it.
Very interesting.
But yeah.
It's like, I mean, sure, there's been a lot of different civilizations that have thought about that. But there's also a lot of civilizations who have theorized about the stars, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And like when you look up, you look down, there's a ton of things that you would come up with, right?
Yeah.
And like try to make sense of things you don't understand. So I can see a lot of people thinking the same thing. Like, what if this giant thing we're standing on and there's nothing below me? I'm just standing on this crust and that's it.
It makes me think of like, I don't know. How thick did ancient human beings think the ground was?
I don't know. I mean, people dug. People have been digging forever.
So, yeah.
Right? And it's like impossible to get far enough to see anything.
Yeah.
So I guess they must have thought it was kilometers and kilometers deep, which, you know, it is.
It is. Yep. There's also the convex hollow earth hypothesis.
Convex hollow. Does that mean that we're in the hollow earth
You
at the
bet
moment?
your ass it does.
Okay.
Yeah. Which I think is insane and really dumb of all of them.
Yeah.
But some very common arguments against hollow earth: seismic activity.
Sure. Tectonic plates.
Yeah. I mean,
Shifts
something's moving down there, I guess, right?
Sure.
Gravity.
Yeah.
We've calculated it out and approximated the weight of the earth, and that makes sense with how much gravity the earth produces, but it wouldn't if we had a hollow earth.
Sure.
And then the fact that nobody's actually seen it.
Yeah.
There's no evidence whatsoever.
Yeah, but that's also what Ken Ham says about dinosaurs and people living together, right?
Ken Ham?
Ken Ham. Did you ever see the Ken Ham and Bill Nye debate?
Oh, no, but I heard about it.
The new wave creationist who said that humans and dinosaurs lived simultaneously 5,000 years ago.
That's what that guy was saying?
Yeah, that's what his theory was. And the only argument he had, one of the only arguments he had against Bill Nye was, well, you weren't there.
What?
Yeah. So you couldn't know. You weren't there.
Even though he's, like, what is he claiming, that he's millions of years old or something? And
well, no, the Earth is only 5,000 years old.
Right. But is he
wasn't
claiming that
there.
he's... Exactly.
But also, you weren't there.
Yeah.
So how could you know?
So who's to say?
Yeah.
Who's to say?
How do you debate with that?
You don't. You really don't.
It is a fun debate to watch, though. I would definitely recommend it. Bill Nye gets really frustrated.
Yeah, I don't blame him at all.
But yeah, like that's like the key argument of like four things against things. It's just like, well, you weren't there, you know? And yeah, it just seems really like it's a really weak defense.
I feel like, I don't know. Has anyone tried fighting crazy with crazy as far as that shit goes? Be like, well, you weren't there, and just be like, yes, I was.
Like, that's impossible. You know, like, I don't know.
No, it wasn't, man. I'm a scientist. I invented time travel. I went back in time, and I can confirm that there's no.
But then they would ask for proof. They don't
like,
have to
it's
produce
destroyed
proof,
now
right?
via a dinosaur. A dinosaur stepped on it as I was sending myself back in time, and now.
Then
it's
how'd you
gone
get
forever.
back?
Well, it sent me back in time just in time, but it only sent me and not the time machine. And
Sure.
now I'm hearing there's no
Okay.
proof, but I swear I was there. And now what? Sir? I don't know.
I don't know.
It's
Where
like
that
crazy
goes.
with
I don't
crazy.
know if it ever ends.
Yeah.
I think it's an endless loop of, well, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. And that would be the worst debate to watch in the world.
Yeah. All right. I've got 3 more.
All right.
First one's really weird. There's not much to say about it, but this theory claims that the Chinese put mind-altering chemicals in the plastic bands of baseball caps.
Baseball caps.
So that when Americans wear them backwards, the chemicals cause them to do crazy things.
Wow.
I didn't see anything else. I read that it existed, but I didn't see any other clarifying information. So
I mean,
do with that what you will.
but I also don't understand. I've never heard of, I don't know where to start with that.
Don't you know that everyone that wears baseball caps backwards is crazy and does crazy things.
We're both wearing backwards baseball caps right now.
Yeah, and we're talking about crazy shit.
We are the crazy ones.
We're crazy. Thanks, China. Chinese chemicals.
Thanks, China.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yo, that's weird, though, because I can't think of a single example where that would actually be applicable.
Yeah.
Like
again, the why is a really good question on that one.
Who was wearing a backwards baseball cap and also did a crazy thing at the same time? Can you think of anything?
Who is the guy that assassinated that one president?
What one president?
Yeah, didn't you know Lee Harvey Oswald was wearing a backwards baseball cap?
When that one dude who assassinated Archduke Franz Ferdinand?
Yeah, backwards baseball cap.
Backwards
OJ?
baseball cap.
Backwards baseball cap.
That dude who was on bath salts in Florida. Backwards baseball cap.
Baseball cap. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
I told you this episode would be mind altering.
Coincidence?
I think not. This next one is that there was no Cold War.
There just wasn't?
Yeah. It claims that the States and Russians were actually allies and that the Cold War was used as a plausible reason for the two countries to amass large amounts of nuclear weapons so that they could prepare for an incoming war with aliens.
Oh.
It also states that North Korea doesn't actually exist as a country and is in fact a testing ground for the two countries' nukes and futuristic military technology.
Well, have you ever seen North Korea?
I wasn't there.
Listen, dude. Okay, so that's wild and insane.
Yeah.
But how fucking dope would that be if they were like
That'd
keeping
be
it from us that we're preparing for a
nuts.
war with aliens? And this is why we had to feign an entire possible Armageddon between two major superpowers.
Again, another great movie idea, right?
Yeah. Cool sci-fi. I like it. You know, it's almost like Black Mirror-esque. You know, it's like it's got that sort of plausibility and it would be fun.
Yeah.
But also, why?
Because aliens, man.
Because it's aliens. It's very clearly aliens.
Yeah.
Cool. I like it.
Yeah.
It's a fun one.
I think it would be fun. I kind of wish there was like some sort of conspiracy that like
some real conspiracy
gets revealed. Yeah, some planet-wide freaking conspiracy that
I would
we all
love it.
Find out.
It would
about.
be very exciting.
I just want the world to change in a major but harmless way.
But all the things that are like actually happening, the terrifying things that like humanity does to itself, we all know it already. It's already apparent. Like we already know Nestle is a heartless, fucking horrifying, awful, anti-human company with an actual evil leader, like supervillain level. And that's just happening. That's not a conspiracy. And that would be like the biggest conspiracy if that was being hidden. So I don't know. We're already doing a bunch of horrible shit. Maybe conspiracy theories are a way to like explain or distract oneself from the actual horrors of existing, you know?
Yeah.
Like we need something more grandiose so we can stop focusing on the fact that we're really bad to each other. I don't know.
That kind of reminds me of a quote your mom sent me.
Oh, really?
When I mentioned that we were doing conspiracy theories. Just wait till conspiracy theorists discover that they're part of a conspiracy theory to use conspiracy theorists to spread disinformation via conspiracy theories.
Oh, God.
You with me?
And all the conspiracy theorists exploded.
Yeah.
It's too much. It's short-circuiting.
I can't.
Oh,
it's kind
boy.
of plausible, though.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Definitely. If you can get yourself in enough of a conspiracy theory, like spiral.
Yeah.
I bet
It's just
some
like
people
layers.
have arrived there.
It's just layers, right?
But
Like,
that's a conspiracy based on this, and that's a conspiracy based on this. But if this is a conspiracy that applies to these two conspiracies, then those two are conspiracies that apply to a bigger conspiracy that therefore apply to the grand conspiracy, which is then umbrellaed by all other conspiracies that other conspiracy theorists have conspired.
which takes us back to the original conspiracy theory.
Yes. And round we go. Time is a flat circle.
Time is a flat circle. All right, let's end it with a fun one.
All right.
Let's end it with a fun one.
I'm down.
The Jeopardy conspiracy
The
theory.
Jeopardy. Yeah, I love this one.
This theory basically says that Ken Jennings is a plant or was a plant
Yeah.
because a year before his run, Jeopardy lifted off the hard limit on winnings because there used to be a cap. And at the same time, there were all sorts of new game shows that like came about onto air and stuff like that.
Word up.
The claim is that Jeopardy was just worried about ratings, wanted to stick around, needed a reason for increased viewership, and planted Ken Jennings.
Wow. Why? Why would they do that?
The ratings, man.
I guess so, but also like, all right, yeah, it makes sense. It would be a good strategy, to then showcase this genius that came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Who was just killing the game.
Yeah.
Went way past the cap. Do you know what Ken Jennings ended with? Like his run was crazy.
Right around 2 million.
Yeah, so like insane.
Do you remember how much Holhauser won?
I don't.
Because he won like just shy, and I think he was right around 2 million as well. Either way, I was thinking about it. It would be so impressive regardless, even if he was a plant, to like memorize the answers to like so many of those
still
questions.
Takes somebody, like unless he was getting fed the answers, if that's part of the theory.
Did they have that subtle of technology in the 80s?
Oh, sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, why not?
They got Jeopardy money.
Anything's convenient for a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, of course.
Like you can just say, yes, they had that technology. And there you go. That explains it.
And it was a government secret.
And it was a government secret. And, the CIA or whatever had that technology before anyone else. And The Men in Black is a historical nonfiction.
That's all I got.
All you got for conspiracy theories?
I mean, I've already mentioned it, but I also feel like it's really important to kind of get the word out there. And I feel like the people do need to know that big purse makes women's pockets so small so they sell more purses.
More handbags, more purses, more accessories. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
why are their pockets so small?
We all know it. It's so obvious.
Yeah.
Just start putting pockets in things.
Stop buying purses, people.
People will buy your clothes if they have pockets. You're at a turning point.
Case in point, our live audience member right now.
Pockets.
She's in love with those pants because of the amount of freaking pockets.
They're men's pants.
Oh, they're men's pants.
All right, women, you heard it here first. Start buying men's pants. It's the way to do it. Learn from the best. Let's boycott women's fashion. We're done.
Nothing but men's clothes from here on out, folks.
And then they'll just become unisex clothes.
Yeah.
And we're all happy. All right. So that's pretty much it for today. Thank you so much for listening. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. It was a fun one, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Cool to just go through these conspiracies. I'd like to remind you that these are all conspiracies that are, from what we know, untrue. So we don't want to promote misinformation, but it's also fun to just learn about what people are talking about these days.
Yeah.
Especially these people with their crazy theories. Follow us on Twitter at It's 3 a.m. Pod. We have some tweets.
We have some?
We have some.
Good job.
They're not good, but we exist. So with that,
go to bed, everybody.
Yeah, go to bed.